Patchwork Heart Ministry and Fiat Ministry Network invite you to discover your mission. A brand new in-depth monthly video series featuring engaging Catholic speakers who will challenge you to live your life abundantly. For only $25 a month, you will receive a personal monthly mission, including 3 up for the Discover Your Mission tier at patreon.com/patchworkheartministry today.
Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry present Journeys in Faith. Now, here's Andy Santis.
Hi, welcome to Journeys in Faith with Ann DeSantis here on this Friday evening. It's great to be here with you on this evening, and I am so glad that you're here with us because I have an amazing guest. I have Amy Brooks. She is a wife, a mom, and the founder of Prayer, Wine, Chocolate, and also Catholics Online. You definitely want to check out those 2 awesome websites and social media presence. So, Amy, thank you so much for joining me here on Journeys in Faith.
Thank you, Anne. I'm so happy to be here. This is great.
It is. And we're
Hi,
friends.
everybody.
Yeah. You've been a guest with me more than once. Of course, you were a guest on the podcast that's also associated with this Facebook page. It's called Sowing Hope. So you were a guest with me and Bill Snyder, and also on my former TV online show called The Positive Side. So I encourage people to check that out if you want to watch those previous episodes. So Amy, as we do many, many times, I mean, the name of the show, right, is Journeys in Faith. So I thought you could start out with just telling us about you and your journey.
Sure. So my name is Amy Brooks, and I have been I'm a cradle Catholic. You know, I've been Catholic my whole life. I went to Catholic school. I grew up in Philadelphia and went to Catholic grade school, high school, and then I continued Catholic college. I even got my master's degree from a Catholic university. So that's always been a part of my life. My family went to church together every Sunday. We were, I was the oldest of 5, and I remember when I was in like 8th grade, my dad would walk us up to the front pew. We would all sit in the front pew, I think because I had younger brothers and sisters, I guess. And I always, valued prayer. I even remember at a young age wondering if I was praying correctly, like what I was supposed to think about when I prayed. Was I supposed to think about the words, or, I remember being that young and thinking about prayer. So I've always embraced my faith. I found it very interesting and fascinating. When I was younger, all through grade school, I was friends with someone who, her family was born again Christian. So we often discussed, we both were very, in love with Jesus, but we also had conversations that were pretty interesting for 13-year-olds to have, the differences between a Catholic and a born again Christian, and things that we maybe didn't agree on. And later in life, when I graduated from college, her and I were roommates. So the friendship and the conversations continued. And those conversations led me to really dive into, well, am I Catholic because I was born Catholic? Or am I Catholic because that is what I'm supposed to be? So I discovered this apologetics, and which is defending the faith. And I found a book that was actually written for high school students. And I read that. It was called Philadelphia Catholic in a King James Court.
Yeah,
and
I am familiar with that book.
Oh, it was so good, because where I was, I couldn't have read, like, I still have never read Scott Hahn. I hear he's great. But this was at a level that I felt like I could understand. And even all those years of Catholic school, we never really did apologetics. I don't know why. Or maybe they did it and it just kind of went over my head. So that book was fascinating. And so I was very interested in that. And then as I discovered more about our faith, I fell in love with it more. But then I went through a dark time. I was very depressed, and my faith was like my parachute. Like I started prayer journaling, and that allowed me to like pour my heart out to God in a very intimate way. And I feel like those years helped me strengthen my faith. And when I was single, that's why I was depressed. I was single. I looked and hoped and prayed for our faith, like my Catholic faith. So, and I did find that, that man. And so our faith is something we share in common in our marriage, in our journey in life. And so we also battled infertility, which can be a spiritual battle as well. God called me to this life, this vocation of marriage, and now I can't have children. It can be confusing, and it can be scary, and it can be very emotional. But we've always put, our faith in everything. Whenever anything bad happens, we go to God. And hopefully, when the good stuff happens, we thank Him. So that journey of infertility led me to start blogging, because we adopted our son and I quit my job. I was a Catholic school teacher. So then we wanted to adopt again, but I don't know, how many people are familiar with adoption. It's very expensive. So I stopped working, but we felt called to grow our family. So I thought, God will find a way, is basically what I believed, and God showed me, yes, I will find a way, and here are twins. So then we adopted twins. Yes. So God, it's pretty neat to be over 40 in a way, because you can look back and see, that country song, there was Jesus, there he was, there was Jesus. He was there the whole time. So my faith brings me comfort, brings me joy, gives me guidance, and I don't know how people live without it, to be honest. Yes. So here we are. Where are we now? Now I really enjoy finding other inspiring Catholics and telling the world about them. And when I discover Catholic ministries, like one you're very familiar with, St. Raymond Nonaltus.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Like there's so many great ministries. And when I find these ministries, I love to tell the world about anybody who would listen. So I guess that's, where my journey is now, because that is my mission with CatholicsOnline.net, to help increase exposure and really bring Catholics and ministries and business people together, bring Catholics together, because we are all called for a purpose, and we have this, be who God meant you to be, and you'll set the world on fire. So we're all called to do great things. So I like to connect people. So
you sure do. You sure do. And you do an amazing job. That's right. I know it's all about your faith. And I'm very grateful to know you, because your joy is really contagious. And I mean that. I truly mean that you are one of those people who...
that's such a compliment.
No, really. It's
Thank
the truth.
you so much.
That's no lie. I think people who are watching who know you, they're thinking the same thing. That's right.
You.
It's so true. And so now I do want to invite all of you watching and listening on podcasts here to go to her website. Now she's got a couple websites. Yes. So the first one is CatholicsOnline.net. It's a beautiful website. And right on the front page, it says, can the internet really help me find Jesus? And I think if you go through that website, that you're going to find the answer is yes.
Yes.
And they have a terrific Facebook presence too. So why don't we start out with that one? I know we're going to talk about the other one, which is Prayer Wine Chocolate, but maybe we can first touch on Catholics Online. What's that all about? I love the logo too.
Thanks.
Get that mug.
Yeah, this is our Catholics Online. So there is another Catholics online, but we're catholicsonline.net. We actually started out, the first website domain I bought for it was catholicsocialmediainfluencers.com.
Yes.
And then somebody said to me, whoa, that's a mouthful. And I was like, you're right, it is a mouthful. So what it is really is people who are Catholic and have some type of platform. They could be a blogger, they could have a ministry, they might be a Catholic speaker or an artist, podcaster, YouTuber. Anyone that has an online presence is on this directory or invited to be on the directory. So we, and our directory, I write a lot of blog posts just to bring people in to kind of give a snapshot of who you'll find if you're perusing the directory. So we have gift guides, you know, because we have a ton of talented artisans and business owners that create these amazing gifts that really nourish faith in a way that is so creative. I'm thinking of the one now, Be a Heart. Her name's Erica, and she now has a line. She has bibs, baby bibs that have the prayer before meals on it. And I'm thinking that's so wonderful because you're ministering to the to the mother and father who are putting the bib on their child before they eat, and you're reminding the mom and dad to pray. And everybody needs a bib. Every baby needs a bib. So it's like practical yet inspiring. So you can find all these different Catholic gifts. So, and rosaries. You can find traditional gifts like rosaries, miraculous medals, things like that. But you can find these also just unique gifts that you probably, many people I feel don't even know these things are out there. So I try to, you know, get louder about them and let everyone know that they're out there. But we also have just amazing Catholic authors and bloggers, you know, that are practicing the faith in their busy lives in practical ways. So, you know, especially now, like it's really hard to connect with people. So online connection is so important right now because our community is, I don't know, depending on where you live, social distancing is very, you know, anti-community. It's difficult. It's difficult. So we're trying to be a presence where we can still connect one another and be united in Christ together and feed one another and minister to one another.
Yeah, you're doing a terrific job, honestly. You really are, because I've known you now for a few years at least. When I think it's been at least 3 or 4 years now since I met you, and I'm just so impressed. And if you go to the website now, it says that there's authors, speakers, artisans, businesses, ministries, and so much more. So, so what's it like for you working with all these wonderful people and what they're doing to help bring faith to others?
What's wonderful is that, you know, sometimes I have my own blog, Prayer, Wine, Chocolate, and sometimes I share, you know, my own, I don't want to say revelations, my own, you know, my own faith. I share that because maybe it'll help someone else. But when I'm working with all of these other bloggers and ministry leaders and artisans, I'm getting fed as well. My soul is getting fed and I'm getting ministered to. So here I am. I think I'm helping everyone, but then a blog post comes across my face and I'm like, oh, that one's meant for me. I need to pay attention to that God's trying, you know, to tell me something through someone else, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah, it really is what it's all about, isn't it? About community. And I have to say, I think you came in at the right time. Who would have guessed 3, 4, 5 years ago that we'd be in a global pandemic? So I do think that Catholics Online came in just at the right time because you know
God thinks of everything.
Yeah.
Right?
And we can become friends with, really, I mean, friends with people who live all the way across the country and maybe even outside of the United States. I'm sure you've had some people join that maybe aren't in the United States, the continental U.S.
We do. We have Kiara, from the founder of Catholic Mothers, who's in London. We have someone from Panama, Jessica from Panama. Rebecca, who lives in Poland. Yeah.
Word is getting out.
A lot of Canadians, some Australians, I guess because of English, but we do have a Mexican blogger that is living in the United States. She's not a citizen. So she, her blog is in Spanish, but she's part of our community too.
I think
So,
you're
yeah.
really growing. You are.
Well,
I mean, since I've
we
known you,
rise
you've
with
grown.
each other, right? We what's the saying? We rise by lifting others. So
Amen.
that's what we're called to be, the body of Christ. We're called to do that. We're called to lift up one another and therefore be there for one another. I mean, it can't be a replacement for. There's nothing like being in person. There's nothing like being in person. So, I'm so grateful. And you and I live in the same Archdiocese. Like, we can go
That's
to
right.
Mass, but I don't know how it is everywhere else. I don't know if some places, still have churches closed. I hope not. But, thankfully where we live, we are so lucky where we live. We live in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. I don't know about your parish, but my parish, when I receive communion on the tongue, they have a certain Eucharistic minister that stands by. They wash their hands in between every person. So I don't think everybody has that. And we really are lucky where we live, I think. At least I feel that way.
I do. And I'm thinking of my own church. I'm a member of St. Mary's Parish in Schwenksville. And Father Louis Bellapedi, and say hello if he's happened to be watching. But yes, he does the same thing. At my church, there's this separate extraordinary minister. It's actually their deacon, permanent deacon, that gives communion on the tongue. And as you said, washes his or sanitizes his hands in between. So all the details are there.
Following all the rules, but still really accommodating to people.
That's right.
So
Amen.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yes, very happy to be a part of this Archdiocese and very blessed. And just a shout out to those watching that if you want to learn more about the Archdiocese, go to archphila.org. I know that website because there's just so many great resources there, and our wonderful, wonderful Archbishop Nelson Perez too. So very blessed to have him. Yeah. So, but back to Catholics Online.
Sorry, a little sidetracked.
No, that's okay.
Digress.
Okay. It's kind of fun when we go off track a little bit. Now, the other thing with this Catholic social media influencers, can you explain to the audience a little bit about that and how that community works too?
Well, okay. So CatholicsOnline.net. So any Catholic or any Christian or anyone can go to CatholicsOnline.net and find inspirational content, gift ideas, ministries to support or volunteer for, speakers to have maybe speak virtually at an event. So the people that are listed on that directory, and there's close to 300, between 200 and 300 people, they're all in a group and we support one another. So right now we use the platform of Facebook as a group. So there's a group in Facebook that when you sign up for CatholicsOnline.net, because you are a Catholic speaker or you're running a Catholic ministry, there's a group so that if you are sharing things on your Facebook page and the algorithms seem to be making no one see it, you can join a support thread and there's like 10 other people that will share your things or comment, and that helps algorithms, which I know nothing about algorithms, but it apparently is a thing.
It is a thing. That's right.
So we just try to help one another. We educate one another, how to use Instagram, how to use Instagram better, how to use Facebook better, why you should use video, when you should use video, and just, different marketing ideas, mainly social media marketing, but not always just social media marketing, because if you're watching and you want to support small business, it really helps small businesses if you sign up for their newsletter, if you comment on their posts, if you share their posts on social media. But there are still people who are not on social media. So, email, newsletters, and just telling a friend, about these wonderful ministries that exist is helpful. Anything is helpful. Of course, purchasing it from them is great too, but it's not the only thing you can do. It's small businesses don't have a huge budget for marketing. So we depend on word of mouth and our email newsletters. Like when you give someone your email address, that's a big deal to them. When you open their emails and you click on their links and you become engaged in their content, that is very helpful to these small businesses. So please continue to do that.
Oh, yes, I agree completely,
Yeah.
because the viewers know week after week we have a commercial for the St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation, which you can learn about at nonatus.org. We help families in crisis, especially those affected by divorce and separation. We all the idea of getting connected via the email, because
Right.
you're right, not everyone is totally engaged in social media as much as some.
Right.
So those email addresses are very valuable to people, especially like you said, small businesses and nonprofits.
Right.
They really are.
And just because you follow something on Facebook doesn't mean you're ever going to see anything they post, because Facebook started out and free pretty much, but now what Facebook does, and who can blame them, it's a business, is that they hide a lot of things, and they encourage small businesses to pay for ads.
They do.
And that's, if you're not paying for an ad, you may not, even though you have 5,000 people that like your page, that doesn't mean maybe 20 people see some things. It's getting tough for small businesses to use that platform. God will
That's
provide.
right. That is completely true. I'm learning all those lessons myself, as I said, as a director for a nonprofit. So I'd like to take a moment just to thank the people who you are connected with on Catholic social media influencers and on Catholics Online, because your faith and your ministry is enriching my life. And every time when I look at social media and I see all those wonderful posts and articles and artisans, so I just want to encourage people to like your face talking about that one.
Right.
Is there anything else, though, about Catholics Online that you want people to know? Any kind of call to action there?
Well, actually, yes. If you are on Facebook, we have another Facebook page. It's called Catholic Shopping Bag. And especially with Christmas coming up, you have your children, your godchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your friends. We really, on our Catholic Shopping Bag page, really promote all our small businesses and our artists and our artisans and our authors, because we have a ton of authors. So check out Catholic Shopping Bag, and once in a while check again with the algorithms, make sure you're commenting and sharing things, because then it'll show up on your news feed more often, and your friends will see it too, so that you'll get some great ideas. You really will. I mean, this really, like I said, practical things that have an element of faith, and some great books, some great books. And then, it's the time of year when you want to give, you'll see the ministries that are doing phenomenal work, that you'll want to be a part of it. You will want to give to them. You'll want to volunteer. You'll want to share their things, because they're doing such amazing work. So.
No, it's a good point. It really is.
Yeah.
And the only way we can find out about ministries like that are through organizations like yours, because it's not like you turn on the TV or you see them in certain news articles or, promotional ads. You see them at places like Catholics Online. So yeah, it really would. So
and there's
now,
a ton of giveaways too, like real quick.
Yeah, tell us about that.
When small businesses have a giveaway on Instagram, if you enter that giveaway, first of all, you might win something. And second of all, you're helping that small business, because through giveaways, small businesses gain exposure. Often they tell you to share it or tag someone. So what you're doing is you're helping spread word of the business through word of mouth. And plus you might win something.
It's always fun to win stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Something you would have bought and spent money on. So
you mentioned the holidays. I think it really is, honestly, it's a perfect time to connect with you, especially all those artisans and all those authors who it would be such a great way to evangelize. This is Journeys in Faith, and you're on Fiat Ministry Network. I have to make a shout out to our fantastic producer, Kent Kolhosky, and Jennifer Sinclair, who does a lot of our social media posting. And of course, my good friend, Bill Snyder. Actually, they're all my good friends, Kent, Jennifer, and Bill. Bill is my co-host on Sowing Hope, which Amy, of course, I said you were a guest there. So I want to just thank them, because they are all sending this podcast and this show out all over the place, We're all over the place. And I just encourage people to share, because when you share this video, or when you share, make a watch party or share the podcast, you're helping Amy, you're helping the business, you're helping her ministry. Yeah. So please do, share it out. Watch parties are great. So if you haven't done it yet, just click the watch party on Facebook now and share it with all your friends. You'll get that notification to learn more about the wonderful ministry of Amy Brooks, and also Catholics Online. And yeah, you said no, online. But yes. And
Catholics
also,
Online.
Catholics Online. Did I say? Okay. Yeah. And also Prayer Wine Chocolate. So
yes.
Now we do have to take a short break. So we will be back in just a couple minutes with Amy Brooks. We're going to learn more about her wonderful work. So stay tuned here on Journeys in Faith. Hi, my name is Ann DeSantis, and I'm the director for the St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. You can learn about us on our website at nonatus.org. I'm here to tell you today about two great podcasts that I hope that you will tune in. The first Tuesday of every month at 8 o'clock, we have a podcast specifically for Catholics affected by divorce. From 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, go to Philly Nonatus on YouTube to subscribe. In addition, we also have a podcast the last Thursday of every month. That's also at 8 o'clock Eastern Time for 1 hour. And that one is for families in crisis. We have some really great guests coming up soon, so hope to see you then. Please also consider the fact that you can make spiritual direction appointments with us, with our spiritual moderator. All you need to do is go to our website on the contact form and just reach out to us. We'd be happy to hear from you and look forward to setting up an appointment. So we'd love to connect with you. Please share this video and let people know that we're there for families affected by divorce and also families in crisis. Thank you.
Patchwork Heart Ministry and Fiat Ministry Network present the series.
When I was young, in the 1950s, I attended Catholic grammar school and I memorized the Baltimore Catechism. In fact, I think I got an A on all of my tests. I faithfully attended Mass each week, not because I wanted to, but because I was afraid if I didn't, I would suffer eternal damnation. I followed all the rules. I followed my Catholic faith faithfully. But it wasn't until I became a wife and a mother and I began to try and pass my faith on to my children that I realized that everything I knew about Jesus was memorized doctrine.
I can't even share with you how I was so wrote in my faith. And I was attending Mass, but I was not present. I was a good man, I was a good father, I was instilling the sacraments into my family. I was definitely not intentional, I was stuck wrote in my faith.
But what kind of strength did he have? Jackie did not just have a strength of body or baseball skill. He had a strength inside of his spirit, a courageous meekness that empowered him to play the game.
And I tell him what is going on with me, and he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, no, I think this is like some sort of miracle, dude. And he's like, okay, of course, but I'll believe it when I see it. Honey, you've been trying to quit, and you've been saying this and saying that, and his big line to me is, you shouldn't say things, because I never follow through on them. And so this was week after week, month after month. He is looking at me like, this is a miracle. There is no way that you, on your own, could have done this.
In 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 16 through 21, St. Paul compares the sacrifice of the Christians to the sacrifice of Israel and then to the sacrifice of the pagans. Paul calls the chalice the blood of Christ. and the bread as participation in the body of Christ, and then warns his listeners that you cannot partake of the table of the Lord and the table of demons at the same time. So in other words, you need to decide, what are you going to participate in? Are you going to participate in the historic Christian knot?
Welcome back to Journeys in Faith. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Friday evening. And as I said at the beginning, I have an amazing guest. Again, I have Amy Brooks. Amy is a wife, a mom, the founder of Prayer, Wine, Chocolate, and also Catholics Online. So if you haven't watched the beginning of the show, please do go back again and learn about her ministry called Catholics Online. Because right now we're going to talk about her other ministry. It's called Prayer, Wine, Chocolate. So Amy, please do tell us about that.
Yes. So prayerwinechocolate.com is a blog. It started as a blog. And the name Prayer, Wine, Chocolate, it came from when I was in my 20s. There was a group of girls that I was friends with, about 4 of us. That we got together on Thursday nights. It was the last season of Friends, and we would do a potluck dinner, watch Friends, and we would pray the rosary, because we were all kind of going through something tough. So, because the 4 of us it was pretty consistent, but people brought friends. Sometimes it was 8 people, all girls, women, and we would pray the rosary, but we'd also have a glass of wine, some chocolate to snack on. And that time before we would pray the rosary, we would say our intentions, was so therapeutic. It just, the rosary too, it just calms you. I was praying she would have children. Years went by, and then we were at my friend's house who did have children, and we were saying we should write a book because of all the things we prayed for and, where we are now. And we're like, what would we call it? And somebody said, Prayer, Wine, Chocolate. I guess it was around the time Eat, Pray, Love must have been out around that time, Eat, Pray, Love. So we were kind of just looking at, and we're like, Prayer, Wine, Chocolate. So when I went to start my blog, I actually was going to call it Raining Roses, because I love St. Therese. And I've prayed there's a novena prayer where you ask St. Therese to pick you a rose from the heavenly gardens and send it to you as a message of love. And I've prayed that many times, and she sends me roses. So that was my first thought, but that domain was taken, so I couldn't use it. And then I thought Prayer, Wine, Chocolate. And then when I told my husband, he's like, so I wanted to write about my faith, but what really motivated me to start a blog was that we were on an adoption journey, and we were going to adopt without the help of an agency. And it was really a leap of faith. So I was doing a ton of research on how I could connect with pro-life groups and just ministries that took in women that were homeless and helping them choose life, and different ways to just let people know if they were considering adoption that we were out there. And I wanted to document it all, because I felt strongly that my husband and I were not the only people who felt intimidated by the cost of adoption, but called to adopt. So I wanted to share our story so that I could help other people that didn't feel like they had the funds to pursue a family through adoption. I wanted to help them. So I would write about that, but really what ended up happening is I started writing more about my faith. And God, we had our son, Xavier. He was about 3 or 4 when I started Prayer, Wine, Chocolate, because he was 4. So when he was 4, God brought our twins into our life.
That's right. Amazing.
So it was kind of like God said, I am full of abundance. Why are you worrying? I'm not going to give you 1 baby. I'm going to give you 2. It's just amazing. Just
That's
really.
Right. It's such an incredible story, just getting to know you, and you're so filled with faith. Thank you so much. God always has plans when people cross paths. I believe that.
Right.
There's a reason for everything. So what a great.
Our friend Allison,
Allison,
Gingrich, yes, she works for Wine Ministries, and she has her own blog, Reconciled to You, and she says there are no coincidences. There's just God-sidences, you know.
That's so
I
true.
was thinking that. Yeah, I don't know if she invented that word, but I'm going to give her the credit for it.
The God instances, yeah.
Yeah,
I have heard that before,
God-sidence.
but if she invented it, then congratulations. But we
Should
make
be
a
in the
shout out
next
to her,
Webster's.
Allison.
Yeah.
Hello.
Allison, I hope
And
you're
thank
watching.
you so much for all you do.
Yeah.
God bless.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
now on your website, I love it when you go to Prayer on Chocolate, the first thing it says is be who God meant you to be, and you will set the world on fire. Catherine of Siena. And then underneath that, you have the Perfect Catholic Mini Retreat for Tween Girls. Maybe you can tell us about that.
Yes. So when I started writing my blog posts, I wrote this one story, which is this incredible miracle. And I do feel called to tell everyone to pray the spiritual adoption prayer. So there's this prayer, I believe it was written by Fulton Sheen, and it takes less than 30 seconds to say. And basically you pick a name and you pray for the mother, you know, to choose life. So we were praying that prayer, my family, and this huge miracle happened. I'll have to link it, you know, a huge miracle happened. Basically, I met the woman who was praying for her baby outside of a Planned Parenthood. So I wrote about it. And when I wrote about it, a man named Jerry Winley Doust read my story, contacted me, said, this is a great story. I want to help you edit it. And we became friends. And I said, oh, you're a publisher? Because I could tell from his own website. And, you know, we just got to know each other, and he was a publisher. And I said, I had an idea for a book like 17 years ago. Like, you know, I said, could I pitch it to you? And he said, oh yeah, sure. So I found my old prayer journal where I had this idea for a book for girls like in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And the title of the book, which he helped me publish originally, but now it's with Our Sunday Visitor, is
That's
Be
right.
Yourself, a Journal for Catholic Girls.
I love it. I've seen the book before. It's amazing.
Yeah. So that book was meant to be. Like, I mean, it's amazing how God is this great orchestrator. Because when I started the blog, I wasn't even thinking of that. It was something I jotted down in the back of a prayer journal, like over a day. And yeah, so I wrote it. And Jerry, he owns Grace Watch Media. You got to check out his stuff. He wrote a couple books, 77 Ways to Pray with Your Kids. Yeah, so he's a great guy, and he made it happen. And so that book now is ranking in the top 50 for children's journals on Amazon, for children's inspirational books on Amazon, and children's prayer books or something. There's 3 categories where it's been in the top 50 for the past year. So it's really resonating with parents and their daughters. And I've met some girls that have the journal, and they're like, we love it. And one mom said, she wants another one. Like she wants it again. And I think she bought it for her again. She said, oh yeah, I like comparing my answers from last year to this year, like how my answers change. And so it's a journal for girls that allows them to share their worries and their inmost thoughts with God, but it also has a social aspect, almost like a teen magazine aspect, where it has like quizzes and, you know, what's your favorite song and who's your favorite celebrity, and then why don't you say a prayer for your favorite celebrity? So it bridges their life and what's important to them, and it connects them to their faith. And it's fun. I remembered what was fun at that age, and I made sure I included it. So because faith can be fun. And as soon as I wrote that, so that last blog post is helping, because some parishes have used it with groups of girls. So I have actually gone and done these retreats with like a dozen girls or so before COVID. But you can do it social distancing as well. I put that in the blog post. So you can bring girls together that age in a group, introduce the journal, do a fun craft with them that is actually designing the back cover of the journal. We left it blank on purpose and gave them directions on how to design it themselves. So as soon as that came out, everyone's like, where's the boys' journal?
That's right. I remember this.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know.
Not here yet.
Yeah, so the Boys Journal came out this year.
Yeah, I know.
And a lot of help from Jerry, and we have this great graphic designer. The same graphic designer did the boys and the girls. Her name's Laurie Nelson. I believe her studio's Agape Design. So, you know, because there's a lot of artwork in it. There's coloring pages and just place things to doodle on each page. There's a lot of artwork in it. So Laurie Nelson did the artwork, the graphic design, the cover. Yeah.
How great is that? Hey, with the holidays coming up, aren't these great books for your tweens?
Absolutely.
And for your nieces and nephews, or for a gift for someone, right? I mean, some kind of a gift for Pollyanna or something like that.
Yeah. And what's great about
really
them
awesome.
is oh, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
Well, what the feedback we're getting, and this is what brings me such peace and relief, and like, oh, thank goodness, that the kids actually like the book. You know, so Kristen Brown, I don't know, Kristen Brown does the Portrait of the Saints. She like takes pictures of people.
Yes,
and then they look like paintings.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yes. So she bought one for her 9-year-old, and he said, "This is the coolest book ever."
Did he?
Yeah, I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that people are really, Sarah Estabrooks' son, she got it, her son's like 10. And she's like, you have to give me that book. I have to take pictures of it before you write in it. And he was like hugging it. He like didn't want to give it to
mine.
Yeah. So it's just so nice. And when I gave it to the kid up the street, and he's like, I said, do you like it? Because he's the first person I gave it to. I said, do you think it's good? He said, I think it's great. It's like, I love you. So what a relief, because with the girls' journals, you know, I think it's fun. With the boys, I was a little nervous, you know, because, you know,
yeah, because I understand what you're saying, but it's needed, isn't it? I mean, in the development of character and virtue, especially for young guys and for girls too, of course, women and men, young women and young men who are developing their characters. Oh, just couldn't be better.
That a lot of men do prayer journal, like grown men. Gary, you know, what's Gary's last name?
Gary Zimak?
Yeah, he had a podcast, and I forget what it was called, but one time I wrote the benefits of prayer journaling on my Prayer Wine Chocolate box, and he got in touch with me and had me on his podcast because apparently that's something that really helped him through his life, was prayer journaling. And John Kinuthia, I think he's big on, he's another Catholic speaker. He's big on prayer journaling. So it was neat to know that prayer journaling is definitely something both men and women do and find helpful.
Yeah, and it's a keepsake too, isn't it? I mean, because it's not something, when you prayer journal, most of the time, at least I know for myself, I'm not inclined to get rid of those books. I'm inclined to keep them because that's what I wrote, say, 15 years ago or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
well, and
it's neat to go
see,
back.
Right, what you prayed for and how God worked it all out, you know?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. You see how God worked things out. So is there anything else about Prayer Wine Chocolate that you like to share?
I try to do a lot of Catholic fellowship. I was having every year I was having a retreat, a Prayer Wine Chocolate retreat, and it was just one day. But this year, if anybody wants to pray, it's really tough this year. So I still wanted to do it with social distancing and everything, but I'm hitting some walls, but I'm also hitting some open doors. So I don't know what exactly is going to happen this year. And in the future, like people keep saying, I can't wait until 2020 is over, but that doesn't really mean anything. I don't know when this pandemic's going to end. I don't know.
Yeah, I
when
agree.
All these requirements are going to go away. I don't know when people are going to stop being afraid.
Well, you hear that word new normal, you know, and things might go back to somewhat of a normal, but I don't think it will be too soon that people are completely not, quote, worried about getting sick and whatever, you know. People are still going to be in that mode of
people who have diabetes and you know, and just I don't know, man.
No, I agree
but
with
I'm
you.
hoping, you know, I love that aspect that I could come out from behind the screen and enjoy a glass of wine and prayer with other women, and it's a couple women have told me this is like Christmas for them when we have the prayer wine chocolate retreat. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I go every year. I make sure my husband has off. This is Christmas for me. I get to pray. I get to go to the winery and hang out with other women that share our faith and recharge,
That
So,
makes complete sense. And the fellowship aspect is very important, and that has been harder for people during COVID.
right.
So it's just great that you do so much with the online presence too, because
Yeah.
that helps people to feel understands what I'm talking about. Just
Mhm.
how far things have come with technology is just really incredible.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are able to stay connected.
Yeah, it is a big blessing.
Yeah.
So, hey, I wondered while we're talking about prayer, wine, chocolate, if you had any particular prayer intentions that you wanted to share with people on this show.
Yeah. Well, the prayer wine chocolate retreat, that's my first, I would
Okay.
love for it to happen, but of course I want everyone to stay healthy.
Hmm.
But I would really like, and I just wouldn't mind some prayers for both ministries because
Yes.
it's not easy. I have 3 small children, and I still want to help contribute financially to our family, and but my heart is here. So God will provide a way. But if you could help pray about that, that's so
Invite
that we
people to
can
pray
survive
for
and
you.
thrive. Thank you. Like
Hmm.
my prayers that will survive and thrive, and really bring a lot of people who maybe are lukewarm or have fallen away back to Jesus and back to their calling so that they can be who God meant them to be and set the world on fire.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of your favorite saints too. I thought we could do that because I
Okay.
know that you like Saint Therese of Lisieux. Any others are
Yes.
inspiring to you?
So when I was 24, St. Therese's relics came. I live very close to a Carmelite monastery.
Okay.
So I got to like experience her relics, go and I visited, and I guess I touched where her relics were. And I was 24 at the time. This is how old St. Therese was.
Tell us why.
Well, okay, for one, I know I was reading about her, and she would write letters to her brother, and she would talk about how much she loved her husband. So I remember one time, like Matt and I got in a fight. So I was reading about her, and I was like, "Can you pray for us?" And then he called me, and he said he was sorry. So I just feel like she's a great advocate for married women. But another reason is I have a 3-year-old daughter right now, and she's intense. And St. Sally wrote about when St. Therese was 3.
Oh,
She
that's
writes
right.
about her saying, this child screams when she does not get her way. And it's like, oh, St. Sally, you get it. You understand, and what hope there is in the child that is really testing your patience became a saint, like this great saint. So, and she
I don't
was,
feel so bad.
yeah. And
I know I
St.
tested
Sally,
patience too.
yeah. Yeah,
Ah,
exactly. We all, it's
that's
just
right.
so real. Like I could connect with her, and she was a lace maker. She had her own business, so here I am trying to have my own business and be a mom. So I feel like I just really love her. Daily, the way it's pronounced,
Zaylee. Okay.
but I'm not sure. I don't know, but I
Thanks
like
for the
her.
encouragement. Any others that you like?
Yeah, well, St. Catherine of Siena. I think it's St. Teresa of Avila. There's some that I'm very interested in now that I want to learn more about. But of course, our Blessed Mother,
Yes.
Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal. Ever since I started my blog, I started wearing a Miraculous Medal and became aware of the consecration and just became much more aware of how she's like pulling me towards her son. So our Blessed Mother and Saint Jose Maria Escriva. I keep seeing these quotes everywhere, and I'm like, every
I know,
quote
it's amazing.
makes me stop. So I want to get to know him better, and I love Saint Joseph. I mean, the fact I love so many saints, so we could talk about this forever. I love Saint Gianna. I just figured out I met Saint Gianna's daughter, and 9 months later, the twins were born. Like almost exactly 9 months later, because I gave her our intentions. I had all these intentions from readers, blog readers, and from myself, and she held the book. And I talked to her, I prayed a Hail Mary with her. And Jaina is a derivative of Gianna, which was not planned, but maybe God had that plan, so yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
there's just
beautiful.
so many saints that can pray for us and inspire us and walk with us.
Thank you. I meant, when I look at some of the posts that you put up or some of the people that that a lot of them are based on some of the saints. So I just want to thank you for that. If I could also make a quick shout out, because there is an online conference coming up called Modern Saints. It's through smartcatholics.com. And it's going to be, I think it's the weekend of October 23rd and 24th, if I'm right, unless it's 22nd and 23rd. But it's the Saturday and Sunday. So if you'd like to get involved, it is free to sign up. There are some tiers for the different other packages if you do want to pay. I think it's like starting at $10. But basically, just to get involved in the community, it's free. So you go to smartcatholics.com, and I believe it's like /modern-saints. So you might want to check that out too, because it's
yeah, I joined it, but I'm so overwhelmed right now.
Yeah, there's so much going on
in that community, but there's very few, because of the 3-year-old twins. I can't sit down at the computer for too long, so I haven't been able to really engage. But I have I've seen it, I've heard of it.
Yes. Yeah, no, I understand
right now. But yeah,
I'm going to be giving a short Modern Saints for that online conference.
Great.
And my talk is going to be on St. Catherine Drexel, which we both know is
another one
Philadelphia area saint. So if you want to look and listen to my talk, then like I said, go to smartcatholics.com. So
yeah, saint who is,
and I remember a while ago, just to bring up a past memory, weren't you setting up like a one-day retreat years ago to the shrine, because you invited me and I couldn't make it that day. I was disappointed, but I do have that memory.
Prayer, wine, chocolate retreat, and I made it the first because they were closing, and I wanted to make sure we got there before they closed. Because her shrine was on the beautiful grounds where she lived for years and years, but now her shrine is at the cathedral.
That's right.
Yeah, but we were able to walk the grounds and go to mass, where she went to mass every day. And I tried to get in her room, but they wouldn't let me.
Oh.
I said, "Can I see the room?" She's like, they were like, people live there still. The sisters, because the Sisters of Blessed Sacrament still lived there at the time. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And listen, thank you so much for the wonderful work you're doing, honestly and truly.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
You have to come back again, because I'm sad to say that we're almost finished the show. Did you have any final words before we end, just to our viewers? Any call to action or anything that you want to say before we end?
I would love if you bought a Be Yourself journal for someone in your life. Be Yourself a Catholic journal for boys, or Be Yourself a Catholic journal for girls. That would be wonderful, because they're the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds right now are living in a time that is unlike any other, and they need to connect with God just as much as all of us do.
That's right.
So this would be a good way, and give, and don't be afraid to give a gift that's Catholic related. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't.
Amen.
Yeah, I would say that's my call to action. Really, like, check out CatholicsOnline.net and find something to give everyone on Christ's birthday that has to do with Christ. It's his birthday.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
It doesn't have to be the only thing you give, but add an element that reminds everyone the reason for this season.
Exactly. So important. Hey, it's going to be here before we know it. So
it is.
Yes. Amy, thank you so much. Please do come back again to Journeys in Faith and to also the Sowing Hope podcast. So I'm going to just wish all of you who are watching a wonderful week. And I will see you here next week on Friday evening at 8:30. God bless.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you.
Thank you.